So now what's interesting is now we move in the timeline to 1923. And this is the Lancaster study. And I highly recommend every person look up the Lancaster study. The Lancaster study completely debunks that germs can jump or cause illness of any sort whatsoever. Now, why does this study debunk it? This study took place in a military camp in a quarantine setting with a whole bunch of military members. And what they did was they took people and made them cough and spit and hug each other and do all these things while they were under the influence of an electrical imbalance. And what started to happen was, as they coughed and spit all over each other, nothing happened. So when you sit and think, they're in a quarantined setting, in the room that they're telling us, and nobody becomes ill, it instantaneously debunked the germ theory. Instantly. Now, who pushed the germ theory? Rockefellers. Rockefellers took over the medical system, like we talked about. So who's pushing germs or jumping all over? Rockefeller medical system. Starts to connect the dots. Now, in this Lancaster study, which debunks everything about germs, they still continue to tell people that germs are creating illness. And so, as somebody just commented below, my father ended up in a mental hospital. Yes, any person who went against the narrative at that time was put in an old world mental hospital. That's what it was. Because they were picking up on these frequencies, just like any person who picked up on the frequencies in 2020 who had loss of smell, loss of taste, radiation poisoning symptoms. So with this, you have 1923 Lancaster study. Everything gets debunked. But shortly after that, 1926, 1929, guess what? There's more outbreaks. That's what they're telling everybody. More outbreaks. Why? The technology is now moving from a new place to another place, or they're taking one of these and putting them into the people, and then that's causing an outbreak. If you look at the origin of this right here, it's going into people's arms. This is from the Upas tree. You can look this up, UPAS tree. And look up the Upas tree. It's a tree that's in Thailand, which pretty much can take out anything in which is around it. And they also considered this, whenever it was going into the people, this was considered as a bite from the adder, from a snake. Now let's take it a step further. What does the Tesla symbol on the car look like? A snake bite. So you have this going into the people like that, and you have a Tesla symbol of a snake bite on the car. You see how these things connect the dots? And then what happens when a person gets this that has a RFID chip inside of it? They are now synced up to the Internet of Things. So we have to connect those dots, because that's a whole nother one, and we can get into even that as well too. So through this journey of going to the next parts of the timeline, okay, we start to go to the 1940s, 1950s. You know, you see all of these